Good morning, everybody, and this is your S&P 500 day trade setups for today. So, still a little bit of a mixed bag, to say at the moment. So, we do have this zone that we looked at yesterday, which we have got buyers coming in off it, but obviously now I want to see a little bit more structure here. There is what I refer to as a Brooks gap, and basically it's just a setup that Al Brooks trades in a trend. So if you don't know who Al Brooks is, Google him. There's quite a bit of literature. He's got some really good books that you can actually purchase, and teaches you price action pretty solidly. But anyway, we have diversions here on the 8 hour. High, 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 low. So that is diversions. So you would expect something to happen. If we draw a line along the top and along the bottom here, we have a pretty big wedge. And the only thing that I'm really interested in at the moment is, sorry, not that one. Just delete that. The only thing that I am interested in right now is that trend line. Is it going to hold or is it not going to hold? And if you look to the left, you can see there's a cluster of chaos here. So is this going to hold, or are we going to pop below it? Trend is up, so we should be looking for structure. We've got 3 levels of structure plus a diagonal, so we should expect something to happen here. Now, I just want to highlight on the daily, trend is almost up. Okay, so we have a crossover here. We need to defend this area, and again, this area is pretty much around 4,000. So if we can defend it on the weekly, which is here, then you should see something different. But one thing to remember on the weekly is we have a crossover of the faster moving averages, and we are in between them and the 155 EMA. So that to me indicates a little bit of confusion on the weekly. So not something that you want to be chasing to the upside at the moment, just yet. So lots of confusion basically in the market right now. And I mean, if you just look at this from, on last week we had some noise come out from the Feds, and everybody buys and rallies, and then all of a sudden, as you digest the news, then you start second guessing the Feds, and now you start selling off, or actually just not continuing to buy, and so you gradually drift lower. 3 hour still in an uptrend. We're in a zone of support. We do have a bit of a pin bar here. We've got a pretty interesting gap that formed yesterday. I haven't really paid attention to what noise caused that, but obviously something happened that caused that gap. It's across all markets. And we do have a bit of a pin bar forming on the 3 hour here, right off structure. Then, so I just want to check the oscillators. Oscillators not really offering us anything just yet. And then if we move to the 1 hour, oscillators have crossed over, but this to me looks like a bit of a flag. It's a range bar between 2 levels. There's a confirmation bar. It's a very weak signal for me. I'm looking for a pin bar, inside bar, and engulfing bar. This classifies as an engulfing bar, but typically on engulfing bars and inside bars, I want to see 2 of them before I worry about looking for an opportunity to get in. So at the moment, that's the first one. So I want to see a second pullback, preferably a higher low or a double bottom before jumping in on this. So yesterday was a fairly big move down. Day before was a pin bar, and I think the important thing to understand is that we did drop below the previous day's low, but we kind of closed just above it. So if you look to the left, you can see the reason for that. Look at all this chaos that we've had here. So what is the plan of action at the moment? So we do have a crossover, which is short. We sort of below this area. We don't really have much structure on the hour to the upside. I think that the closest that we do have is going to be something like that. And I'm going to have to put another level in because there is, you can see how many tails are there. And if I just want to scroll to the left, you can see a little bit of other chaos there, the previous range that we were in. So We have found support there in the past, and it does look like we're trying to find resistance here. This is a tweezer top at the moment on the hour, but it is after hours. It would be very tempting to take this short right now, just based on the setup that we have here for another move down. But it is after hours, so we need to stick to the plan. Don't trade unless the European market is open. If we just drop down the 15-minute, you see that that level doesn't really line up too much. We'd obviously have to add that area in there, and that becomes your zone of resistance. So we don't really have anything happening at the moment. Got a nice big crossover pointing down, but they are separating. So this could mean another move to the upside. So yeah, I'd be watching this area here. So this is 42.1. 41.718 and 41.6. I'd be watching those areas, and then I'd be watching 4,000 like a hawk. So if we do get support off 4,000, you see that's not support. You see we did get a tweezer bottom here, and see, that's what I say. If you see that kind of setup in while the market is open, oscillators grip the downside level, tweezer bottom, and then you have an inside bar. You could look at it differently. That's an engulfing bar, and that's an inside bar. So, any one of these tube structures. So entry could have been up there for a long, and obviously stop below the tails. So entry could have been around there at 39.96, or alternatively, you could have been up on this green bar here around 4,000, and it wouldn't only be up 100 points, I think. Yeah, so you only be up 100 points, but nevertheless, probably 100-point risk to, I think the first one would have been a better one because it's off the level. That's 92, 100-point risk to where we are now, 123, so 1-to-1 trade. Anyway, pay attention to this zone here. You could see another rejection off here for a short. The trend is down on the 15 minutes, so today that's what you need to look at. And the moving averages are quite far apart. So it's going to take quite a bit of effort to get through them and then start building a base for a long. So at the moment, you're looking for short scalps, and this is the area to look for, and you're aiming for 4,000. If we get below 4,000 and we sort of come back to this 39.88 area and then come back and reject 4,000 and start rolling, I would be looking for a decent setup for another short there. But that short I would possibly be, if we can get moving through the day, I'd actually move my stop to entry and just leave it and see if we do get a break below that going into the close of the week. So now we're stressing about what the Feds are going to do. I mean, that's the bottom line. We do have a 1 hour crossover here, so that is a fairly it's a fairly confident look that we have at the moment that something is not right. And then also we've been creating a series of lower highs and a series of lower lows as well. So it could very well be a situation that we don't like what we're seeing, and this big picture on the weekly, and you can see all the chaos that I've got here. You can see this flag forming on the weekly here. It could be a case that that materializes, and then, and I've said it before, there was your first leg down, and that would be your second leg down. So this could be the start of something bigger to the downside, but it could also be just be a flash in the pan, just trying to find a base for a break of this triangle, of this wedge to the upside, because there's a big wedge forming here. You look at that, or channel, should I rather say, which, if you look at this from down here all the way up to this side, that would be another move of, oh boy, what's that going to be? Around 25,000 points, or 100% move in the market from where we are at the moment. So, yeah, that's kind of in the future, so we don't really want to worry too much about that. But I think we're at a pivotal point, and this 4,000 area is our pivot. If we can hold it, we can stay above it, that's going to be very good for the bulls. If we can't stay above it, then I suspect we're probably going to be challenging these tails over here. And that breaks a trend line, it breaks 4,000, it breaks everything. which then starts flipping. Then your bigger time frames start looking a little bit more bearish. So anyway, that's kind of my view at the moment. On the short time frames, I'm looking for a continuation to the downside, and you can probably do this on the 5 minute. If you look here, just look at the setups that we have here. You've got the crossover that happens here, so you're looking for a retest. So if we just put a level in, and I'm on the 5 minute here, so that would be my first retest. Doesn't materialize, then what you're looking for is the next bit of structure, which is here, and look at all the retests here. You can see that becomes serious. So you could either taken it there or waited for the next bit of structure. Next bit of structure could have been any one of these tails here. And I think during the market open was this one, and then you had that one there. See that swing low there, and look, you had a first attempt, didn't quite get there, so you're expecting a second attempt at it. There it is. There's nice little pin bar, inside bar. Look at your risk to reward here. So there's your entry at 40.55, and then your stop loss is basically 30 points. I mean, with a small stop loss like that, you can maximize your position size, and as soon as it gets going, wait for the first pullback there, the first pullback there, then pull your stop to entry. So your stop would be at entry right now, and something like that. Let's get there. So your stop would have been there, pull back, drop down. Your next entry is going to be right over here. See that structure there. Look at that pin bar off there. So now your stop from the first one, you could have added your position on this one here, and now you have a stop there, which you would then wait for the first pullback. There's the first pullback, so then you could have been protected your capital by moving the stop down. So basically, you could be in this trade at the moment for something like, what are we at the moment? 400 point gain right now. But anyway, just showing you that on the 5 minute it does work as well. So even if you are working a full day, specifically in the European, South African time zones, you have the ability to get home from work, grab a beer, glass of wine, coffee, and just sit down and just open the 5 minute chart and just draw your levels in and wait for the structure, get in 1 or 2 trades, and then close the charts and you're done. Anyway, rambling now. So that's kind of the setup that I've got at the moment. I'm looking to continue this journey to the downside. I don't believe it's finished. So I think this 4,000 is going to be tested properly. If we do get through it, then I suspect shorts it is. If we defend 4,000, then I'll be looking for the opportunity to build a base for the upside. But what we're seeing on the hour with the moving averages, above and below the moving average, lots of confusion. We don't really have decent structure, and the 3 hour is still trend up, but if we start dropping below the the lows of last week, then the gloves are off. Then I suspect we're going to have a massive retracement. Anyway, that's enough from me. Hope it helps, and we will catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.